Hello, welcome to Bentley's Backwoods Bushcraft, and this is Richard. So today, I've got some of this cordage here. Now this is about 60 feet of cordage, and it took 15 bags to make this 60 feet of cordage. It's only 59 so far, but I should get about another foot out of this. And the reason I haven't completely finished it is I'm going to continue to braid this cordage, but I am going to braid this fishing line in the cordage. Now this is 15-pound test spider wire. This stuff right here is not going to break. There's about 3 foot of this. So what I'm going to do is, about a foot before I'm finished, I'm going to place this into the weave of this cordage, and this is going to become a fishing line. I'm hoping, because I haven't tested it, I'm hoping that this 3 weave will suffice when I start going fishing, and see if this will actually work as a fishing line. I'm hoping. I've never tried to fish with this stuff before. I had thought about doubling it over or even tripling it and make it 6-ply. Just bend it upon itself 3 times and weave it again. But I don't know if that would make it too big. I'm not quite sure. What I really need to do is to take a bunch of this, just a piece of it, throw it into some water and let it sit overnight, or maybe even 2 or 3 hours, and see how it reacts, to see whether or not this would even be a reliable fishing line. I probably should do that before I weave this fishing line into this, but I'm already done with it, and if it doesn't work, I can always cut the fishing line off and have about 59 feet instead of 60, or it could still be around 60 feet. It just won't have the fishing line hook up to it. So anyway, regardless, I'm going to go ahead and finish weaving the rest of this. I get this rolled back up in a manner that isn't going to cause it to unwrap. There we go. I'm going to continue to weave, but I'm going to weave this fishing line into it, so we'll be able to see if this is actually going to work as a decent fishing line. So I'll get right back to you when I get that done. So as you can see, I've got a loop into this fishing line, and I'm just gonna take the center one, which is the center one right now, run it through that loop and run it up to the end. And let's try to get it so that it doesn't cut or tear, because this spider wire will do that. There we go. So it's right up at the edge right here of this, and we're just going to continue to weave, and I'm going to attempt to keep this in the center the whole time. So let's do that, and I'll get right back with you. So the fishing line is going to stay here in the center, right there, and I just continually weave. So I am now weaving the fishing line into the last bits of the cordage. Now I went ahead and cut one more, so instead of 15 it's going to be 16 bags, but I cut these actually a little thicker than I cut most of the rest of them. So I'm just going to sit here and continue to weave this fishing line into the last foot or so of cordage, and when I get that down to where it pretty much is taken care of, there we goes the fishing line. I'm going to have to leave enough of space to where I can tie a hook to it and everything, so shouldn't be much longer. I'm not going to use all of the last piece of last pieces of the bag that I cut. So this is the first piece of 6 extra pieces that I cut out of the 16th bag. So we'll just say 16 bags, but there'll be a little bit extra, or I could have started weaving the fishing line into the cordage a foot or so before I actually really did this time, and it would turn out to be 15 bags. But 15 or 16 bags either way doesn't really matter. So we're gonna finish this off real quick and I'll get right back with you. So here we are, we've got it done now. There we go, a little knot. I used an extra 2 pieces of plastic from the 16th one, and here's what we have left, so we can tear or cut these pieces off. And then we have this little piece of string of spider wire on the end of it, so that I can attach a hook and a sinker, and then it becomes the fishing line, and then about 60 feet of this cordage, so that I can throw it into the water, and I can only use, I had 3 feet of the fishing line. I didn't have to use the actual 3 feet of cordage, but with the 3 feet of cordage I now have like 60 feet of fishing line, and just the last 3 feet is the actual fishing line, and it's weaved in there decent enough where any fish that I'm going to catch around here isn't going to mess it up. So now all we got to do is I'm going to put a swivel on the end of it, and for a hook, and then a sinker, and then this is ready to actually use for fishing. So come springtime, we're going to give it a shot. So we used, I'm going to say 16. Technically it was 16 because I got 6 pieces of cordage, 6 strips from the 16th one, but I only used 2 of them. So I made the last one's a little larger than I normally did, but you could do it with 15. You could do it with less, but you could do pretty much the same thing with 15 if you just started weaving the fishing line in a little sooner than I did. So we're gonna say 16 bags, and got a little over 60 feet of cordage. And then at the end of this I tied a knot, and of course I didn't do it all the way down. There's a little bit of fishing line still sticking out, and it's woven into it about a foot or 2 at least. So I'm not sure exactly how far up that goes, but it goes in a foot or 2. It's not going to come out. It's not going to pull out for sure. And anyway, so now I used 3 feet of fishing line, and of that 3 feet of fishing line, I'm going to get 60 feet out of it. Again, I haven't tested this stuff for fishing at all. Hopefully I can do that early summer. This will be the first one that I'm going to test. I'll just wind this up a tad bit. There is a sinker, a swivel, and a hook on here, and this will give me the ability to, there it goes, stick it right in there. So there's 60 feet of fishing with only 3 feet of fishing line. We haven't had a bad winter, and the water hasn't frozen enough for me to try ice fishing. So I doubt whether I'm going to get any ice fishing this year, but come springtime this will get tested out. That's another nice little project for Bentley's Backwoods Bushcraft, and we're all going to have to just wait for several more months to see if it is going to work or whether it doesn't work. I actually have high hopes for it. If it does work, I plan on doing it with other pieces of woven cordage that I make. Use less fishing line, and I get a much more extended ability to cast out and fish at greater depths and further away from the bank, and still not use a whole lot of fishing line doing it. So we'll see. It's a good use for bags, is making this cordage anyway. And if I can turn it into some sort of ability to produce some food, why not? I would not trust it in traps, as far as like noose traps or anything like that. I wouldn't use it for that sort of cordage in traps. I just don't think that it would be able to work. I could try, I guess. It wouldn't hurt to give it a shot, but I just don't think that it would work well. But you never know, it might. Something to think about. So anyway, thank you guys for watching Bentley's Backwoods Bushcraft, and enjoy the outdoors, even if it's just your own backyard.